Okay, welcome to a different kind of video. This one is a showcase of a redstone build that I built for Christmas. And so I guess I'll just start it. So you can see what it is when I start this here. Okay, so that was my redstone build. Wait a Okay, so don't mind the voices in the background. I can't do anything about them. But anyway, so uh, as you can see, it's a firework. Oh my god, firework machine using TNT rather than the firework item. The way that I have this set up is I have the timing circuits back here. These control the timing of all of those different um, explosion sequences you saw. Each layer here is one group of explosions, so something that happens at exactly the same time. The explosions are programmed using a torch on the right line, just like you would for an encoder in a computer. That's where I got the idea from in the first place. You can see if I go further back here, some of these are more complicated than others with more torches. So the other interesting thing about these is that the first 6 lines here, or last 6, depending on how you think about it, control the big spreading low explosions, the trail fireworks as I call them, that are in the front, and the high up TNT chambers, I guess, that on the sides at the end. Those are made differently than the rest. Those take 5 seconds until they start exploding due to how TNT mechanics work. The rest of these use command blocks, so they don't have that delay. So this big rack of repeaters here sets that delay so that these, which are the command blocks, happen 5 seconds after these do, which fixes that delay. So each line controls its set of fireworks, and each red line here controls one specific firework. The each line has its own timing to make sure it matches throughout the whole thing, so that everything happens at the same time. And each one runs to its own firework, as you can see over here. So also each line has a redstone lamp on it, so that the you can see exactly what's happening while it's running. The orange blocks show where the boundaries between the high mortars, middle mortars, low mortars, actually no, low mortars, middle mortars, high mortars, extra high mortars, spreading trail fireworks, and side explosions are. That's for me programming, but it's just interesting to note. Makes it easier to read. Now, on the back here, all of these back fireworks use command blocks to run, so they summon primed TNT with minimal fuse. Fuse 0 didn't actually work when I tried it. It tended to blow up the redstone, so it's fuse 1. And the top one summons the TNT that goes up in the air. These shorter ones have a shorter delay. They have 15 ticks instead of 20, but that's just a quirk of if it was too long, it tended to explode the redstone inside here. Sometimes it still does, but much less often. Now, the low mortars here use 1 command block, so 1 propelling TNT. Middle ones use 2. The high ones use 3, and the extra high ones here use 4 to propel it to different heights. However, these 4 up here do not use command blocks. These I designed before I decided to use command blocks. So these use dispensers of TNT and slime blocks. So they can't fire as often or as quickly, but they're timed with the rest so that they work, and they look really cool in my opinion. Interesting thing about these is that because there's really no way to get redstone right there, I used the sticky piston with an observer to trigger that from the side. But I just have to make sure it goes in and out really quickly so it doesn't block this TNT. That blows up the whole thing. Trust me, I've experienced that quite a few times. All the timing is done down here, and that detector rail is there because when I copy and paste it to a different location, if I don't have that redirecting the redstone, it triggers the other contraption. So one thing that I had to do to make it so that it spreads out properly, this middle TNT triggers slightly before the rest of it, so that one, but they all get launched up at the same time, or the middle one actually is slightly later, so that the middle one propels the outer ones out further. Same with the other 3 here. And then these side ones were fun to design. They're obsidian chambers with water in them. And there's the dispensers on the side here, so that when you trigger it, it pushes these 2 observers together, and when you chain 2 observers like that, something interesting happens. Because they're running into each other, they update each other, and it forms a very fast clock, as you can see. So when you combine that with a dispenser, it dispenses every tick, or every other tick, I guess, and that makes a very fast sequence here. Which you can see, I can demonstrate this real quick. So that's that. And all of the testing is over here. I made a few extra things, such as this one, which, in my opinion, is one of the coolest testing setups I've ever seen. But, I mean, I'm kind of biased there. But, I mean, you gotta admit, that's pretty cool. Takes a little bit to turn off. Once it does, there. So that's probably my favorite testing setup, but not that one, that's the wrong one. These are where I was developing each cannon. You can see I have it labeled, oh, actually, this one is destroyed, but this was labeled high, so an H there, medium, small, and tiny. Each one of these is the kind of cannon that was eventually put in there, so you can see each one individually. That's the really high up one. This is the, over here, this is the middle one. This is the small one. And then the tiny one, as you can see here, has a tendency to every once in a while explode the redstone. Didn't that time though. And now I took those, and I made all 4 go at once so that you can compare them. You can see that that small one triggers slightly earlier than the rest, but I mentioned before that's because the otherwise it explodes the redstone, it just falls back into the cannon. So this is my original design for the side pieces there that blows itself up, so it was not used. However, I think running it for a short amount of time looks really cool. So that was the original idea, that used the clock at the bottom here to trigger all of these very quickly. You can see that. So also it's fun to watch it slowly carve out a nice sphere here. Anyway, so my original design for the quick fire ones did not involve command blocks. The idea to switch to a command block was only because I wanted to be able to fire them rapidly in sequence. My original idea to accommodate that was push the TNT down every step, which blew itself up, as you can probably tell by the extreme lack of repeaters right there, and, you know, missing everything else. And this is another version of that. So, you can see my testing over here for that one thing. I used redstone lamps to simulate where the TNT was. This design blew itself up as well. I could not get enough thrust in it. However, I think it's just cool to look at. Anyway, I will finish off this video by demonstrating this one more time. So if you liked, please like. If you want to see more videos like these, subscribe and and if you want to be notified for more, hit the bell. So I guess that's the end of this. See you later.